Welcome. My video will be discussing about the hackable cardiac devices at St. Jude Medical. The flaws that were discovered in the programming of the pacemakers were found early 2017, and it was supplied from Abbott, which is St. Jude's mother company that was bought by. Hackers would have been able to remotely alter variables in the St. Jude Medical RF-enabled implantable cardiac pacemakers. The main reason why it can be devastating if a hacker could have gained access to someone else's pacemaker is because they could have drained the battery, which would have resulted in a death, or they could have easily altered the activity on the pacemaker and made the person pass out. These are what the pacemakers that were created by St. Jude Medical. Hacking a pacemaker, it was found that the medical device could be hacked from 7 feet by a doctor, but it could also have been hacked by 50 feet if someone had enough money and time to do it. Most people who hack medical devices do it for malicious intent or keeping a person's life hostage. Abbott made cheap pacemakers which did not have any encryption, but makes it easier to access from anyone who has the knowledge and equipment. Ways that a pacemaker could become hacked. Medical devices today do not have enough memory or battery life to support encryption from random access control. Hospital industries like to be cheap sometimes, so they would rather make medical devices without hardware chip that would have the increased encryption. Many medical devices do not require passwords or usernames, mainly because doctors thought it would be easier to access it in case of an emergency. Doctors and patients do not want to go through many surgeries in order to access the firmware of the medical device. So they made it have remote monitoring, which people could access it through Bluetooth or any other wireless means. MedSec was the company that discovered the vulnerability in their devices. The FDA sued the provider of the cardiac pacemaker and St. Jude Medical for marketing them after the MedSec discovery. St. Jude admitted that 2 patients died and 10 fainted from this hack. They did not want to admit to any more after that. St. Jude sued MedSec for defamation because they released the information on how the pacemaker could have been hacked. MedSec is a cybersecurity firm that tries to find vulnerabilities in medical devices and healthcare industries. MedSec has found numerous weaknesses in St. Jude Medical in the past years. St. Jude even sued MedSec for disclosing the weaknesses that they would discover. St. Jude cares more about making money instead of fixing their weaknesses. The consequences of poor security measures. Now we're going to talk about the consequences of poor security measures. Since a hacker could have gained access to the battery life of the pacemaker, then they could have killed anyone or everyone that had one. 465,000 pacemakers were discovered to have this vulnerability. Probably more than 50% already had these pacemakers surgically installed into them. The FDA sent a warning after finding the claims of the hackable device. This sent the shares of Abbott down 2% to $42.61, which probably would have been a lot of money, probably millions, since we're talking about hospital industries. Now we'll talk about the solution. The best way to prevent a hacker from remotely controlling the pacemaker is to make the security access stronger. it should require more specific information in order to alter the pacemaker's rhythm. It should also only be allowed to change the firmware at the designated hospital location and by an approved doctor of that specialty. The doctor needs to have special login that only he or she would know to access the firmware, so it could be easily monitored on who tries to tamper with the pacemaker. The most consistent way to beat a hacker is to have multiple software patches, but that does not always fix all the problems. It has been known that even though a patient with a pacemaker from St. Jude could get software update, they could still be potentially hacked. The reason why they can still be hacked is because there's a universal code that could allow almost any hacker with the skill and the malicious intent to control the implants and kill anyone necessary, which can make murder for hire. In the future, medical devices could become more advanced and cheaper. They could have lower cost encrypted hardware chips. Maybe nanobots could help and make it better and more safer for patients to live.